What's going on? What I've learned as a 42-year-old black man, I hear all these people talking about struggle and oppression. What I've learned is the average person that is fighting against hatred and bigotry has to go to a protest to confront it. You see, people that really go through oppression and bigotry, we don't have to go through a rally to go through bigotry. We go through racism, oppression, and discrimination while we're trying to go home, while we're trying to go to the movies. You see, my people, we don't have to go to a protest to be confronted with racists. We don't have to. You see, when you ask a person that's fought, that's fighting, that's on the front line, ask them what's the worst individual act of racism that's happened to them in their life. I was 15 and had police take me off of the streets and threaten to kill me because I was outside with my black friend. I'm not a thug. I wasn't selling crack or nothing like that. I was just existing. I've been dealing with racism since I've been 15 years old and I'm 42. Real racism. Them pulling out guns on me. Them putting fake charges on me. Them disenfranchising me in family court. Giving me charges. I've been through real racism in my life. Real racism, not prejudice. Prejudice is when a person doesn't like you or maybe says something that hurts your feelings. But I've been directly affected by real racism. And the people that are out here talking this and that, when I ask them the worst situation they've been through, they tell me about something that hurt their feelings. They didn't tell me about, being pulled over, having fake points on your license, paying off tickets, or, they don't ever tell me how many times police put guns to their face or pulled weapons on them. You see, because I've had police pull weapons on me multiple times. I've had more police put weapons on me than anything else. And I'm not a thug. I'm not a thug, but the police. But police, not the federal police, the sheriffs and the police have terrorized me for the majority of my adult life. And all I've been doing is working, filling out this W-2. So I'm going to start asking people, all these people online, I'm going to start asking people, yo, what was the worst racism you've personally been through? Don't tell me about what's going on online. Because I'm a person in real life that goes through racism, medical racism, criminal racism, family court racism. What are you talking about? I've been disenfranchised in every aspect that you can be disenfranchised with. And people that have been through nothing are in my face acting like their oppression, somehow is more valuable than my people's. My people are met with racism and oppression just for existing, not for protesting, not for this, not just for existing.
31 years ago, 4 LAPD officers were acquitted of the brutal beating of 25-year-old Rodney King, sparking one of the most turbulent chapters in Los Angeles' history and sending shockwaves throughout the U.S.
Since we don't pick cotton anymore and cut sugar cane, our lives is not worth anything.
I mean, you can have a black person killed with a video with eyewitnesses, and this is what you'll get.
But when it comes to police reform, what, if anything, changed since that night? Evidently, not a whole lot, according to King's daughter.
30 plus years later, we're still here. The only difference between then and now is clear cameras and hashtags.
Can we all get along? Can we get along?
Laura Danae King was only 7 years old when her father was attacked by 4 LAPD officers for several minutes following a high-speed chase in Los Angeles. Multiple other officers stood by and watched the beating occur.
A judge who's probably never been down here, a judge who probably knows very little about this community, a judge decided that the life was not valuable enough.
King suffered several broken bones, broken teeth, skull fractures, and permanent brain damage. When Laura visited her father in the hospital,
I didn't recognize him. He didn't look anything like what he looked before the beating, and he never recovered from that. He never, ever recovered.
Video of the beating was shown widely and is considered one of the first viral videos to capture police violence against a black person.
Everywhere you went, literally everybody was watching this. There was no escaping it. And so I just knew for sure that those officers were going to go to jail for life.
4 of the officers were tried in King's beating, and on April 29, 1992, they were acquitted. Hours later, the riots began. For Laura, as a young child, it was confusing. The scenes, she says, were like something out of the kind of movies she wasn't allowed to watch.
The day of the verdict, when we went outside, we noticed that literally the clouds were like smoky, and we walked to the corner and there was no store. It was literally on fire. I would see tanks going down the street because people were rioting.
The acquittal over King's beating sparked more than 5 days of unrest, which caused the deaths of more than 50 people, at least 2,000 injuries, thousands of arrests, and roughly $1 billion in damages. 3 days into the riots, Rodney King publicly asked rioters,
Can we all get along? Can we get along?
Back to the funeral home, about 3 blocks away, an odor met me that nearly knocked me out. I said, what on earth in the world is that? It was Emmett's body.
To the high officials that we have here today, and my greatest respects to you people that have come out here to see what we're talking about and see what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I think that you would like to hear perhaps what went on in my mind for the last 30 days.
We don't need the help of the NAACP, and we don't intend for them to help us. We never have any trouble until some of our southern niggas go up north and the NAACP talks to them and they come back home.
That's how the smell was so strong until it covered a 2 or 3 block area.
Well, I might not can tell you very clearly because I'm not sure myself. But to begin with, 30 days ago, I was very busy getting Emmett to go away on a trip that I thought would be the highlight of his 14 years. And I had taken every precaution to make it his nicest trip ever. And before his 2 weeks were up, at the end of the first week, I was supposed to have gone away myself. But on Tuesday of that week, I just got so tired until I couldn't go away. I had made every preparation to leave, but suddenly I just gave out. I didn't have any strength.
My father was on one side of me, and Rayfield Moody was on the other side of me, and Jean was at my back. And I shrugged them. I said, turn me loose. I've got a job to do, and I don't have time to be fainting now. I saw his tongue had been choked out, and it was lying down on his chin.
I had covered the courts in many areas of this country, but the Till case was unbelievable. I mean, I just didn't get the sense of being in a courtroom. It was, first place, segregated. The black press sat at a bridge table far off from the court, and the boy's mother came down. They sat her there at the bridge table with us. Plus, the United States Congressman, at that time, Diggs, he came down, and I was the one that got him in because the sheriff wouldn't let him in.
I looked at the bridge of his nose, and it looked like someone had taken a meat chopper and chopped it.
And as the week neared the end, I started thinking, I said, well, maybe I don't think Emmett's going to stay the entire 2 weeks. I said he'd be so happy if he put the key in the door Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and I was sitting here. So I just decided that I wouldn't take a vacation, or if I would, it would be the following week. And on that Saturday, or rather that Sunday morning before day, my baby was taken from his uncle's home and my aunt's home. And I found out about it 9:30 Sunday morning.
How many of you guys know that Dr. King did not die from a gunshot wound? Rather, Dr. King died from suffocation.
He said to the deputy that he called over, he said, this nigga here said there's a nigga outside who says that he's a congressman and he has corresponded with the judge, and the judge had told him to come on down, and he would let him in. He said, but the sheriff won't let him in, so he's sending his card up there. So this guy said, a nigger congressman? And he says, that's what this nigga said. So I said, my God, I have never seen anything like this in my life.
There was, of course, a lot of buzzing when I entered the place and was placed in that area, and I think the judge said something.
I was in bed. I got up, called my mother when I got the news, because every decision I had ever made or every crack that I had ever been in, it took her to get me out of it. And I took that one to Mama too, because I didn't know what to do. Mother told me to come right over, and she would start making calls. And I got over there as quickly as I could make it.
I looked at his teeth, because I took so much pride in his teeth. His teeth were the prettiest things I'd ever seen in my life, I thought. And I only saw 2.
We found out that he was missing. We went through the strain of that for 3.5 days. And I asked God, I said, God, please let something happen. Don't let me go out like this forever, because I can't stand it.
Where are the rest of them? They'd just been knocked out. And I was looking at his ears. His ears were like mine. They curled. They're not attached, and they curled up. The same way mine are. And I didn't see the ear. Where's the ear?
I'm not bitter against any race. I'm not even particularly bitter towards the men that did this thing, because I know that if they had known what they were doing, they would not have done it. And I wouldn't say that it was God's will that it happened, but he had a reason for letting it happen.
And that's when I discovered a hole about here, and I could see daylight on the other side.
I was smug. I was content. I was in 6 rooms. I had a car. I had a kid. Nobody bothered us, and I had a good job. I thought it was sufficient to mind my own business. I didn't realize that everything was my business, that the way the people are treated all over the earth was...
I said, now, was it necessary to shoot it? If that's a bullet hole, was that necessary? And I also discovered that they had taken an axe and they had gone straight down across his head, and the face and the back of the head.
My business. Now I know it. And I want to say that I feel that Emmett was more or less loaned to me.
In 1999, the King family won a wrongful death lawsuit against Lloyd Jowers for the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The jury found that King was the victim of a conspiracy involving the Memphis police and federal agencies.
Perhaps I wasn't his mother in the sense that other women are mothers to their children, but I appreciate the 14 years that we spent together. It was a joy watching the unfolding of his mind and the development of his body. And I don't regret a minute of the time that we spent together. I'm just sorry that it was so short.
The family was awarded $100 in damages. The lawyer for the King family was William F. Pepper. And William F. Pepper was a friend of Dr. King, and he took on this case and he started digging up stuff, and he realized that Dr. King did not die from a gunshot wound. Because
if I had known that we were going to be separated so quickly, I probably would have done the wrong thing trying to do the right thing.
Rather from suffocation.
Now, did the shot actually kill him? And if not, how did he die?
The shot did not kill him. We all believed that Martin King was killed by that shot by Strausser. He was still alive when he was taken to...
Have you asked for any help from anyone in raising the money to buy those stamps?
No, there ain't no need.
Why?
They ain't gonna give it to you.
Have you been down to the welfare department and talked to them, or has your husband?
No, so the latest time I went to the welfare, the lady told me, said that if you have a living husband, that they couldn't give you no help.
even if he's not working?
Yes.
To the hospital. He was being worked on in the emergency room of the hospital. And I think the emergency staff were trying to do their best to keep him alive. And he was still breathing and alive. When the head of neurosurgery of the hospital, Dr. Breen Bland, came in to the emergency room with two other men in suits. And he said to the people in the emergency room, "Stop working on that."
Isaiah, at the time that you went to college, was your father alive?
My father was alive. Now, the interesting thing about my father, my mother, and my father, and again, you know, people who were coming up in the 60s, you will know this. You know, so we had to go on welfare.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go on welfare, I mean, the U.S. government was really breaking up your family.
And let him die. And then he said, after a pause, "Now get out of here, all of you. Leave this room. Get out." And he emptied the room.
I went to Washington University to graduate school in 1964. I was working on a National Institute of Mental Health funded study on social problems in public housing. My role was to study women and girls in Pruitt-Igoe. I was 20 years old. I had just gotten out of college. Some of the girls were 18 years old, and I was 2 years older, but yet my life was vastly different.
And as he was emptying the room, a surgical nurse was the last one out. And she heard them do this.
As time passed, I did wonder, would my life have been similar to that of the girls had my parents migrated from Mississippi to St. Louis? Would my opportunities have been different? I guess to put it bluntly, I never saw the people in Pruitt-Igoe as that different from the lives of poor people I had grown up with in Mississippi, except for one thing: the strong, tightly knit communities and families in which I grew up had begun to shatter around the people who were displaced in a northern city with few supports. And the policy and the housing authority was to move the poorest of the poor, the most dependent families, to Pruitt-Igoe.
Because the man couldn't be inside the household.
Right.
And so my father had to leave so we can get on welfare.
Like picking up water in their mouths. And that caught her attention, and she turned and she saw them spit on the body of Dr. King.
Before we moved into Pruitt-Igoe, the welfare department came to our home. They talked with my mother about...
The welfare department had a rule that no able-bodied man could be in the house if a woman received aid for dependent children. If a man lost his job, he's looking for work, he still had to leave the home. And there was even a night staff of men who worked for the welfare department whose job was to go to the homes of the welfare recipients, and they searched to find if there was a man in the home. Sometimes men came back at night to be with their families. Some were found in the closet hiding.
Get the welfare check, and then they started having tension and everything else.
I remember vividly my mother telling us, if white people come to the house and ask you guys questions, tell them that your father is not here.
3 men. Then she saw Bland, Dr. Bland, take a pillow and put it over his face and suffocate him. And that's how Martin King was killed.
This story is so swept under the rugs. If you were to buy William F. Pepper's book, The Plot to Kill King, it's literally $100 on Amazon right now. That's actually the same amount of money the King family was awarded for the death of their father.
Tell them that your father has never been here. You have not seen your father. I trusted her. I knew that there was a reason that we had to do this charade, and I participated in the charade. I sat there and looked those people in the eye and told them with pure earnestness that no, I have not seen my father, and no, my daddy does not live here. And but I knew that I was lying, and that made me wonder, who are these people and how they have the power to make my mother lie?
We're giving you money we want to be able to control you. There were so many restrictions. We couldn't have a telephone. We couldn't have a television. And we were really left at the mercy of the system.